Hi, this is Scott. Welcome back to another Hollinger Team video blog. Um, One of the questions that I get is, well, probably not a question that I get, is when I talk with a potential seller about their property, I'll ask them right off the bat if they have any specific questions. And they say, we really don't know what questions to ask. And so I have to kind of help people with some of the important things that should be asked when interviewing agents so that they have a level of knowledge about who they are going to pick and why. So I thought I'd give a list of important questions for you to consider when speaking with somebody about selling your property. And probably the first one is kind of what expectations would you expect to have as far as communications go? Are you the type of person that says just call me when you have an offer, or is it something like we'd like updates every week, once a month, something like that? And then feedback, as far as feedback from showings and things like that, how are those delivered? And then market updates along the way, other solds, other new things on the market that are competition, things like that. So just different things to communicate about. And then next question probably is what specific market information would you share about the state of the market right now and what trends, what's trending and things like that, so that you can get an idea of if it's a good time to sell or not, and maybe what opportunities there are out there as far as competition and things like that go. And then another question that I do get sometimes is where do you think the buyer is going to come from, or what type of buyer would it be? Young or old, or retired, or out of state or in state, that kind of thing. Just having a grasp of what is some of the activity and some of the strong areas and the strong demographics in the market, and what price ranges they're buying in, what type of properties they're also buying. Question sometimes that gets asked also is about staging houses, and television's kind of added or helped a little bit with that with HGTV having a lot of programs in regard to staging and remodeling and some things like that. And so the question sometimes crops up like, do we need to paint or recarpet or things like that? So that's a good question to ask somebody, to ask an agent what they think as far as the presentation of the property, from repairs and maintenance to staging and things like that. We talk a little bit about financing and bank loans and what that's going to take, and will it appraise, and how is that whole process done now? It's done differently than it was before the recession because of new lending rules that have come up. So there's a question to just ask about what's the state of financing now, and are there any hurdles along the way as far as financing can be. And I guess I'd add one other thing is we have discovered that local lenders in Montana understand a lot more about lending in Montana than out-of-state lenders do. So that's just that's probably a little bit more for buyers than it is for sellers, but also just to brace sellers for a little bit more of a bumpy ride on loans that are done with out-of-state lenders. And then the question would be, how would you price the property? How would the value of the property be arrived at? What's the methodology that's going to be used to determine where to price a property? There's a lot of factors that come into that, and a lot of discussion that can come from that question. And then along with that those kind of are part and parcel with another question like, how long is it going to take, or what would potentially be the timeline or the expected amount of time for a property to sell, and that is tied into pricing, but also there's other factors that play into that. And then last but not least, after many years, the question of commission always comes up, and I explain how we charge and what we bring to the table and our track record for sales, so that we can explain to them what our value is that we bring to the table. And the only word I caution that I would pass on from my own personal life and things that I've discovered and my business life is that a saying that I learned long ago, and that's cheap is expensive. So exercise a little bit of caution in the attraction to perhaps saving a few dollars at perhaps the cost of even more than that. Thank you for viewing in on the most recent Hollinger Video Team blog. Hope that was helpful and informational. Thanks a lot for all the questions and comments that keep coming in. And for our outro to this video, I've done a video in the past about using apps on phones to look at weather patterns and radars information for storms coming in and things like that. If you're out recreating on the lake or something like that. We had a large storm come through 2 weeks ago. And so there's a screenshot of the radar showing the storm right over the top of our house. There's a video of the storm coming through at the house, and then the end result of a tree, one of 6 trees that came down on our property. So just thought I'd add as an outro, and also that there are some really good apps out there that can tell you almost down to the minute when storms are going to hit, and we knew this one was going to hit. Thanks a lot for viewing.
Hey, watch out, dude, there's stuff flying everywhere.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. Oh, man.